What's going on, CrossFit Federal Way? It is Monday, so the start of week number 2 of this round of shutdown. Again, fingers crossed that this thing stays for weeks so we can be back together and working out and getting fitter, getting stronger, doing all that stuff together, because shared suffering is always better, hands down. So let's take a look at the board. I've got a couple things written up here. One, because we're taking what we'd originally programmed for the gym and trying to modify it as best as we can for our at-home workouts. That way we're still kind of following the program, or at least as close to it as we can. So the stuff on the left is what we'd originally written. The stuff on the right is what I've modified to hopefully be able to fit a similar stimulus, may not be exactly the same, but very similar stimulus for at-home workouts with little to no equipment, in this case just a jump rope. And if you don't have a jump rope, I have options for you too. So let's go ahead and talk about it, because this one sounds complicated, but it's not complicated. So let's look at what was originally written. The workout itself is a 3, 2, 1, go. With a running clock, you have lots of time, so you get to set your pace on this and how this goes. But you're going to row 500 meters 4 times. So that 500-meter row should be absolute 100% full send, everything you have to try to go through that 500 meters as fast as possible. So this is a true sprint. You then get a rest as needed. This is where this workout might take you a lot longer than you expect, because you might use quite a bit of rest, and that's okay. Because we're looking at the next piece here is when I'm done resting after my 500-meter sprint, I'm going to jump on my assault bike, and I'm going to do max calories in the same amount of time it took me to row 500 meters. So let's say that it took me 1 minute 27 to row my first 500 meters. So let's say that's my 500-meter sprint time. I then rest as needed, catch my breath, collect myself, let my legs recover. I jump on the bike for max calories for 1 minute and 27 seconds. Now, for those of you familiar with the assault bike, if you have an assault bike at home, or if you have a rower, you can always keep one of these in here and mix and match based on what you have available. Some of us might have both, depending on our at-home gym setups. Just because over the course of this year, a lot of our members have acquired equipment to make working out far more approachable and to have that stuff available when they need it or when things get busy. But 1 minute and 27 seconds, almost 90 seconds on that assault bike for max calories is a long time. This workout will get mental. It will be challenging. And even the version that we'll talk about next that doesn't require a rower and a bike, same thing, it's gonna get mental. And it's these can be those workouts where you look at it and you're like, man, I don't wanna do that, but it is vital stimulus. When we look at being a well-rounded athlete, this is the type of stuff where we get what you call glycolytic. So where your body dips into its glycogen stores in order to fuel those short, hard effort, max effort types of movements or efforts or anything else like that, or whatever our workout is, because both of these are sprints. So it would be the same thing as like doing 400-meter sprints or 200-meter sprints on repeat with a certain amount of rest, but we disguise it with a row and a bike, which some would argue is worse. But anyway, we're going to, what I didn't put on the board here was this is also rest as needed after your bike for cals. You're going to do that 3 total rounds. So 500 meters for time, rest as needed. Calories on the assault bike for the same amount of time as my previous 500-meter attempt. So let's say my second attempt, I'm a 1:36. That means when I get on my bike the second time, I need to bike for 1 minute and 36. So you get punished for slowing down, which is inevitable when you're talking about sprints. Because are we able to fully recover? Cool. If we can keep it at that same time frame and keep things consistent, that's the ideal situation. Is that where most of us land? Probably not. That's why you do things like interval training and stuff like that, to teach your body how to recover, how to flush out that lactic acid, how to prep itself and get back to or closer to homeostasis or normal before starting your next round or your next effort. So you're doing this for 3 rounds. So that means you will row 3 times and you will bike 3 times. You get a rest as needed between all of them. You're recording every single row time. So you should have 3 times for your row. You should then have a max number or total number of calories combined between all 3 rounds. If you want to record them as 3 separate calories, you can do that as well. But total calories and row times. What you're looking for is consistency on that row, consistency on the bike. This is about hitting similar numbers. If it can be better, awesome. If it's off by just a little bit, that means you're pretty close. But if you see big jumps, big fallout, let's say my 3rd one, I really hit a wall, and I'm a 155 on my last row. Okay, that shows that my body clearly doesn't recover well enough yet. I need to continue to do this type of interval stuff in order to teach my body how to recover better and be ready for the next effort so I can give my best every time. Not saying that this isn't necessarily your best. If this is your best, be really proud of that effort. But recognize that this also highlights a potential weakness or a potential hole in our fitness level if I'm seeing big fall off like that. Especially when I've got rest as needed, because I can be taking 5, 6, 7 minutes between every attempt. So the beauty of this at home instead of in the gym is we're not limited to that 1-hour class session with a warm-up and everything else going on and all that sort of stuff. You've got all the time in the world to take your time and do this and give it your best effort. I don't care how long those rest breaks are, because we're not tied to that time domain of we've got 60 minutes to get you in, get you through your workout, have everybody, questioning their life decisions, and then headed home. But I want you guys, if you have the ability to do this, now again, you can replace, if I have a rower and I don't have a bike, or if I have a bike and I don't have a rower, replace one of these with a run. Maybe the calories on the bike becomes calories on the row, and the 500-meter row becomes a 400-meter run for time. That way you mix up the stimulus, or maybe, I would probably do it that way, where that row becomes a run. Even if I have a bike, I would say run 400 meters and then bike for calories in the same amount of time it took you to run 400 meters. So whatever this is, it's still a sprint. This is still like go hard, maximum effort. Just while this is maximum effort, it's just different when you're shooting for time, like with a set time domain instead of a set distance or calorie number. So consider that. If you have one or the other at home, making this 500-meter row a 400-meter run. Okay. Anyway, with that's what was originally programmed. Now, what I'm looking at for a little to no equipment workout for those of us that don't have a rower, that don't have a bike, that don't have the ability to do that, back to use Google Maps. Come up with your run courses if you haven't yet, because you're going to see them come up. And yes, as much as running gets old because we need that cardio type stimulus, and we'll get that through burpees, we'll get that through double unders, we'll get that through other things as well. But that steady state stuff, being on a rower, being on a bike, being on out the door on a run, running is really the only thing that we all have access to. So it's going to be one of those things that we do a lot of in the coming weeks. So just be prepared for it. Figuring out those courses makes it a whole lot easier to find the motivation to get out the door and stay consistent and do that workout. Because if you're like, well, I don't know where 400 meters is, I don't know where 800 meters is, I don't know where this distance is, man, this workout seems like a lot of effort for me just to get ready for it. That stuff can become a deterrent to keep you from actually continuing to work out while we're sequestered at home. So let's talk about what we got in place of having the equipment to do it the original way. We are going to start off with a 400-meter run, surprise, surprise, 4 time. So this is a 400-meter sprint. Yes, some people will have hills. Yes, some people won't. Some people might have a track close to their house that they can go run on. This would be a great one to do on a track if you have access to that, depending on the weather and if you're comfortable being outside when it's cold, possibly rainy. We don't know what the weather looks like. It's Sunday today when we're recording this, so I don't know what the weather looks like tomorrow. But now in place of the calories, when you get done, you get a rest as needed when you're done with that sprint. You then grab your jump rope, and you're going to be doing max double unders. You could do single unders as well. We're going to be doing max effort double unders in the same amount of time that it took you to run 400 meters. So again, let's say my 400 meter run, I come back in, I ran a 1:45 400 meter. Cool. I am going to do double unders for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Record those reps, record that time. You then rest as needed here, which again, I didn't add to the board the first time. Rest as needed. And then you're going to record that total number of double unders as well. So we're going through that, again, 3 rounds. Same structure, same format. Now what I will make a recommendation of is if you don't have a jump rope, go on Amazon, buy a jump rope. Don't spend more than like 30 bucks on a jump rope. They don't have to be fancy, but buy yourself a jump rope. Size your jump rope to yourself and have a tool that's consistent so you can use it all the time. We do have jump ropes at the gym. Some people did take some home. But it's one of those things that I think every athlete should have one of these because we use them so often. And if you're constantly grabbing different jump ropes and other things like that, those little differences will make it harder for you to develop skills like double unders. It might prolong that. So investing a little bit of money in a piece of equipment that one, you can have at home. And trust me, we will see plenty of use of jump ropes in our at-home programming. So getting on Amazon and ordering that now will make a big difference. But when I'm doing my double unders, the things I'm thinking about, my elbows are tucked into my sides, so my arms stay nice and close to my body. My hands are in the frontal plane of my body, so I always like to think of if I'm looking straight ahead, and my hands are in the right place. If I wiggle my fingers, I can see my fingers moving in my peripheral vision. If I can't see my hands, down here I can't see my hands, then I know my hands aren't far enough forward. So a little further forward, I can see them, and that's where I want my hands to be. Bent at the elbow, tucked in, that allows for wrist rotation to take place much more naturally. If I straighten my arm out, if I death grip my jump rope, that locks all the musculature down in your forearms. That makes this rotation not happen near as easily. You need to be relaxed to a certain extent. So from here, elbows in, hands are forward. I'm going to jump a little higher than I normally would. So if this is my single under jump, my double under jump, I'm just thinking about jumping taller. All right. Jumping taller every time for my double unders. Keeping my shoulders relaxed and everything is calm, at least as much as it can be. So I'm going to be doing max effort double unders after I get back from my run. Now, if I don't yet have a jump rope, you might be sitting there going, okay, well, what do? I don't have a jump rope. Cool. We're going to go way back to like old school calisthenics. And you're going to do max effort jumping jacks. We all know them. They're all fairly approachable and fairly easy, but when you do these under duress, and if you had to do it for 1 minute and 45 seconds, they can get tired. So big things on the jumping jacks, legs go out when arms go up, and everything comes back down. So if I'm doing my jumping jacks, I'm here, and I'm just gonna keep moving for the entire time, counting my reps. And it's going to give you some stimulus. Is it going to be as much as, say, a bike for cal or a double under? Maybe not, but will it still be a great workout? Absolutely. So, you might find after jumping jacks, though, you may not need as much rest. You still get that rest as needed moniker afterwards, though. So, that's kind of what we're getting ourselves into, guys. Again, a different way of approaching sprints, a different way of tackling some of that stimulus that we need. Don't cherry pick this workout. Don't go, I'm going to do something else. give it a go, give it 100% effort. And if at the end of your workout, if you feel cheated, just let me know. But if you don't do it because it didn't look like a good workout, you'll never know. So this is what we're diving into today, guys. Lots of different options for us to all tackle this, whether we have equipment or we don't. This one I'm expecting to see a pretty wide range of scores and all that sort of stuff. So with that, guys, this could take a little longer. Plan ahead for your workout, knowing that rest is needed. It might add a lot more time to this workout itself. But knowing that, give it everything you've got. Truly push yourselves. Let's get after it.